You're having a full conversation with your dog. Not just good boy or sit, a real conversation. Can you believe what she said to me? I mean, who does that? And you know what the worst part is? And your dog is looking at you, head tilted, eyes locked on yours, and for a second you swear they get it. Then someone walks in, a roommate, a partner, a family member, and they look at you like you've lost your mind. Were you just talking to the dog? And suddenly you feel embarrassed, caught, like you were doing something weird, so you laugh it off. Oh, I was just, you know. But here's the truth. You weren't just talking to your dog. You were having the most honest conversation you've had all day. This is the psychology of people who talk to their pets like humans. And if you do this, if you have full conversations with your cat about your existential crisis, or explain your work drama to your bird, or ask your rabbit for advice on your relationship, you're not crazy, you're not lonely, you're not sad, you're doing something that most humans have forgotten how to do. You're connecting honestly. Today we're going deep into why you talk to your pet like a person, what that says about you, and why this might be the healthiest relationship you have. Let's start with what actually happens when you talk to your pet. You come home from work, you're exhausted, frustrated, maybe someone pissed you off, maybe you're just tired of pretending to be okay, and you walk through the door, and there they are, your dog, your cat, whoever, and before you've even put your bag down, you're talking. You would not believe the day I had. So, remember I told you about Karen? Well, she did it again. And you're not talking at them. You're talking to them. You're making eye contact. You're pausing for their reactions. You're reading their body language like they're responding. And here's what's wild. In your brain, they are responding. When your dog tilts their head, you interpret that as really, tell me more. When your cat slow blinks, you read that as understanding, empathy. When your bird chirps back, you hear it as agreement. Your brain is creating a dialogue, a two-way conversation, even though only one of you is using words. And you know what? That's not delusional. That's emotional intelligence. Here's what science says about this. When you talk to your pet, especially when you talk to them like they're human, you're engaging in something called anthropomorphism. It's the tendency to assign human characteristics to non-human beings. And for years, people thought this was childish, immature, a sign of loneliness or social dysfunction. They were wrong. Recent research shows that people who anthropomorphize their pets actually score higher in emotional intelligence, empathy, and social awareness. They're not lacking human connection, they're exceeding at it. Because here's the thing, to have a full conversation with a being that doesn't speak your language, you have to be incredibly attuned to nonverbal communication. You have to read body language, micro-expressions, energy shifts, tone. You have to interpret a head tilt, a tail wag, a meow, a pause. And if you can do that with your pet, you're doing it with humans too. You're just not conscious of it. You're the person who knows something's wrong before anyone says anything, who picks up on the tension in a room, who notices when someone's smile doesn't reach their eyes. That's not a coincidence, that's a skill, and you've been practicing it every single day with your pet. But let's talk about why you talk to your pet instead of a human. Because that's the real question, isn't it? You could call a friend, you could text your partner, you could talk to a family member, but you don't, you talk to your pet. Why? Because your pet doesn't interrupt. They don't turn the conversation back to themselves. They don't say, oh, that reminds me of when I... They don't make it about them. They just listen. Because your pet doesn't judge. You can tell them your darkest thoughts, your pettiest grievances, your most irrational fears, and they don't look at you like you're crazy. They don't tell you you're overreacting. They don't minimize your feelings. They just stay. Because your pet doesn't need you to perform. You don't have to be funny. You don't have to be positive. You don't have to filter yourself or manage their emotions or worry about saying the wrong thing. You can just be in whatever state you're in. And that That is so rare with humans that it feels revolutionary with your pet. Here's what's really happening psychologically. When you talk to your pet like they're human, you're not pretending they're something they're not. You're treating them like they're someone, and that's different. Because somewhere along the way, you learn that most humans don't actually listen. They wait to talk. You learn that most conversations aren't about connection. They're about performance, about appearing interesting or funny or put together. You learn that vulnerability with humans is risky, that opening up means giving someone ammunition, that honesty can be used against you. So you stopped being honest with people, but you can't help being honest. It's who you are. So you found a safe place for that honesty. Your pet. Your pet became the repository for the real you, the version you can't show anyone else. Let's talk about what you actually say to your pet. Because it's not just small talk. It's not just, who's a good boy? You tell them things you wouldn't tell another human. You tell them you're scared, that you don't know what you're doing, that you feel like a fraud at work. You tell them you're lonely, even though you're surrounded by people, especially because you're surrounded by people who don't really see you. You tell them you're tired, not just physically, but tired of pretending, tired of performing, tired of being strong. You tell them about the fight you had with your partner, about the passive-aggressive text from your mum, about the friend who only calls when they need something. And your pet just absorbs it all. They don't offer solutions. They don't tell you what you should do. They don't make you feel stupid for feeling what you feel. They just witness it, and somehow that's enough. Here's why this matters more than you think. In psychology, there's a concept called emotional regulation through verbalization. It means that putting your feelings into words helps you process them, understand them, release them. When you keep everything inside, it builds, it festers, it becomes this heavy, shapeless thing you can't quite grasp. But when you say it out loud, even if you're saying it to your cat, something shifts. The feeling becomes concrete, manageable, less overwhelming. Your nervous system calms down, your breathing slows, your thoughts organize themselves. You're not just talking to your pet, you're talking yourself through it. And your pet, they're doing something incredible. They're co-regulating with you. Studies show that when you talk to your pet, especially in a calm, conversational tone, their presence actually regulates your nervous system. Their steady breathing, their calm energy, their non-reactive presence. It signals to your body, you're safe, you can relax, you don't have to be in fight or flight mode. That's not magic, that's neuroscience. Your pet is literally helping you heal just by being there while you talk. Let's talk about the childhood piece, because for a lot of people who talk to their pets like humans, this pattern started early. Maybe you grew up in a house where your feelings weren't welcome, where you were told to stop being dramatic, stop being so sensitive, stop making everything about you. So you learned to keep it inside, to process alone, to not need anyone. But humans aren't designed to process alone. We're social creatures. We need witnesses to our pain. So you found one, a pet, the family dog, the cat who slept on your bed, and you told them everything because they wouldn't tell you to get over it. They wouldn't roll their eyes. They wouldn't make you feel like a burden. They just stayed with you, and that was more than most humans gave you. Now, as an adult, that pattern continues. Your pet is still the safest place for your real feelings, not because you can't connect with humans, but because you've learned which connections are safe. And most human connections aren't. Here's what people misunderstand about this. They think talking to your pet means you're avoiding human connection, that you're substituting an animal for real relationships. But that's not it at all. You're not avoiding connection. You're seeking quality over quantity. You're choosing depth over breadth, honesty over performance, and your pet gives you that in a way most humans can't or won't. Because here's the thing about human relationships. They're complicated. Every conversation has subtext. Every interaction has a power dynamic. Every vulnerability can be weaponized later. But with your pet, there's no subtext, no agenda, no risk. Your dog doesn't remember that thing you said 3 weeks ago and bring it up in an argument. Your cat doesn't gossip about you to other cats. Your pet exists entirely in the present moment, and when you talk to them, you get to exist there too. That's not avoidance, that's sanity. Let's talk about the types of people who do this, because not everyone talks to their pets like they're human. Which type are you? The overthinker. You replay conversations in your head. You analyze every interaction. You worry about what you said, how you said it, whether they took it the wrong way. With your pet, you don't have to overthink. You can just talk. Stream of consciousness, no filter. And that relief, that mental break from constant self-monitoring is everything. You talk to your pet because they're the only one who doesn't make you anxious about how you communicate. The empath. You feel everything. You absorb other people's emotions. You carry the weight of everyone else's pain. Talking to humans is exhausting because you're not just having your conversation. You're managing their emotions too. But your pet, they're emotionally stable, consistent, uncomplicated. You can finally just feel your own feelings without taking on anyone else's. You talk to your pet because they're the only being in your life who doesn't drain you. The misunderstood. You've spent your whole life feeling like people don't get you, like you're speaking a different language, like you have to translate yourself to be understood. And you're tired of explaining, tired of being misinterpreted, tired of people projecting their assumptions onto you. With your pet, you don't have to explain anything. They accept you exactly as you are. You talk to your pet because they're the only one who doesn't need you to be anyone other than who you already are. The lone wolf. You've always felt like an outsider, like you don't quite fit, like you're observing human interaction from the outside. You're not antisocial, you're just selective, and most people don't meet your standards for genuine connection. Your pet does. They're loyal, honest, present. You talk to your pet because they're the only companion you found who matches your values. Here's what your conversations with your pet reveal about you. They reveal that you're self-aware. You process your experiences, you reflect, you feel deeply. They reveal that you value authenticity. You'd rather have one real conversation with your dog than 10 fake ones with humans. They reveal that you're emotionally intelligent. You understand that communication isn't just about words. It's about presence, energy, attunement. They reveal that you haven't lost the ability to be vulnerable. You've just gotten selective about where you place that vulnerability. And honestly, that's wisdom. Let's talk about what happens when your pet responds. Because they do respond, just not with words. Your dog tilts their head, and you read that as curiosity, understanding, engagement. Your cat purrs, and you interpret that as comfort, approval, solidarity. Your bird chirps back, and you hear that as conversation, participation. And you know what? You're not wrong. Because communication isn't just verbal. Most of human communication is nonverbal too. Tone, body language, facial expressions, energy. Your pet is communicating all of those things, and you're fluent in reading them. When your dog's ears perk up, you know they're listening. When they sigh and settle down next to you, you know they're offering comfort. That's real communication. It's just happening in a language most people have forgotten how to speak. But you haven't forgotten. You're bilingual. You speak human and animal, and that makes you more connected, not less. Here's the part that might hurt. You talk to your pet more honestly than you talk to most humans. And that says something about the humans in your life. It says they haven't earned your honesty. They haven't created the safety you need to be vulnerable. It says you've learned, probably through painful experience, that people don't handle your real feelings well. So you protect yourself. You keep the real stuff for your pet. And maybe that's sad. Maybe it's a sign that you need better humans in your life. Or maybe it's just realistic. Maybe you've accepted that the kind of unconditional acceptance you need is rare in humans and abundant in animals. Either way, your pet is filling a need that isn't being met elsewhere, and there's no shame in that. Let's talk about what people say when they catch you. You know they can't understand you, right? Can't they? Or do they understand in a way that transcends words? You should talk to a real person. I do. You're just not safe enough to hear what I tell my dog. That's kind of sad. What's sad is that the most honest relationship in my life is with my pet. But that's not a reflection of me. It's a reflection of everyone else. People judge this behavior because they don't understand it. They've never experienced the kind of connection where words are optional, where presence is enough, where you're seen without having to explain yourself. So they mock it, they dismiss it, they call it weird or lonely or childish. But you know better. You know that what you have with your pet is real, valid, meaningful. And their judgment says more about their limitations than yours. Here's what I want you to know. If you talk to your pet like they're human, you're not broken. You're not socially inept. You're not pathetic. You're not missing out on real connection. You're experiencing one of the purest forms of connection that exists. A connection without agenda, without performance, without risk. A connection where you can be messy and tired and honest and still be accepted. That's rare. That's valuable. That's worth protecting. Your pet doesn't replace human connection. They supplement it. They fill the gaps that humans leave. And sometimes those gaps are the most important parts. Let's talk about what your pet knows. They know when you've had a bad day before you say a word. They sense it in your energy, your walk, your breathing. They know when you're sad, when you're anxious, when you're pretending to be okay. And they respond, not with words, but with presence. They stay close. They rest their head on your lap. They purr against your chest. They're saying, I'm here. You're not alone. I see you. And somehow, that's exactly what you needed to hear. Your pet might not understand the words you're saying, but they understand you. And in a world where most people don't even try to understand you, that's everything. Here's the truth that people who don't do this will never understand. Talking to your pet isn't about them understanding you. It's about you being understood. It's about having a space where your feelings are valid, where your thoughts matter, where you don't have to defend or explain or justify. It's about being witnessed without judgment. And your pet does that better than almost any human ever has. So keep talking to them. Keep having those full conversations. Keep asking them questions you know they can't answer. Because you're not losing your mind. You're keeping your sanity. You're maintaining a connection that reminds you what real connection feels like. And in a world that's increasingly disconnected, increasingly performative, increasingly fake, that's revolutionary. You talk to your pet like they're human, not because you think they are, but because you know they're someone who sees you, someone who stays, someone who loves you without needing you to be anything other than yourself. And if that's weird, then weird is the only thing worth being. Your pet is waiting for you right now, ready to hear about your day, ready to listen to whatever you need to say. They won't interrupt, they won't judge, they won't make it about them. They'll just be there, like they always are. Go talk to them. They're the best listener you've got. And you're not crazy for knowing that. You're just honest.